this is Matt Does Fitness, and yesterday I was in the library when a book fell on my head. Probably should have been more careful in the non-friction section. Okay, right, so today I thought I'd make a quick video, and I say quick, I tend to say quick video and it ends up being like 25 minutes long, but genuinely I'm going to try and make this a quick video. It's going to be about what supplements I take and then a very general overview of my diet. I get asked, probably one of the most frequent questions asked is what supplements do I take and what does my diet look like? So I thought I'd quickly outline it. To start with my supplements, to be honest, the thumbnail of the video pretty much sums us up. You could just look at the thumbnail and then sacked it off because I'm afraid I have no more exciting news to tell you. This is pretty much it. So obviously you see here, this is whey protein. This is the only kind of genuine supplement I take. So I have no affiliation to them, but I always get it from myprotein.com because they're decent, it's really cheap, and it's just no hassle, nice and easy. You get it in a bag. There's no messing around with the tub, it's just quite a simple product. Like I said, it's Impact Whey Protein, so it's about, I believe it's about 85% protein. It's, you know, obviously very low in carbs, very low in, reasonably low in calories. I believe, if I can tell you now, so one scoop, which is 25 grams, is about 20 grams of protein and about 200 calories. So I take 30 grams 3 times a day, so I'm taking obviously 90 grams of whey protein, which in terms of actual pure protein is about 75, 80 grams a day, and obviously about 600 calories, although I mix the one before bed with chocolate milk or some kind of milk variation depending on my mood and the season, and that obviously ups the amount of calories. So yeah, in terms of, you know, genuine kind of proper supplements, that is all I take. My kind of bonus supplements, things that, I mean, they are technically supplements, but they're not very exciting, are these bad boys. So, first off, we have pretty standard cod liver oil. These are 1,000 milligram capsules. I take 2 of them a day. I've done that for a long time. Obviously that aids kind of joints predominantly. With my track and field, my jumping background, obviously I had a big emphasis on trying to protect my joints, so I kind of tended to load up on those kind of joint, anything I read with some kind of link to joint health I would take. So at one point I was taking quite a lot of cod liver oil, glucosamine type things, purely because I wanted to obviously, you know, try and reduce the chances of any kind of knee, ankle, just general joint injuries. I also take multivitamins and iron, again pretty standard. Again, things you can find in your diet, but it's just a bit of a backup. If I take them, I know I'm covered. They contain vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin C, pretty much all of your recommended daily allowance of those main vitamins, obviously iron as well, and a few other things. It says there, horse tranquilizer, so I wasn't actually aware of that. And then finally, glucosamine. I used to take glucosamine with chondroitin, which helped you absorb it, I believe, but it's more expensive. I buy all 3 of these things from Aldi's, which again, I should definitely be the Aldi's PR man because I don't stop going on about them, but they're so good, they're so cheap. These things, you buy these in like a kind of a health shop, they could set you back like maybe £5, £10. These are literally £1 to £2 each in Aldi's. They're really reasonable, and let's be honest, they're probably all from the same factory, just chucked in different bottles. So yeah, I take one of these a day. The glucosamine, that is the 500 milligrams of glucosamine, one of those a day, and the multivitamins and iron, they're pretty small. It is, yeah, obviously like I said, a mix of the vitamins, so I think it's about 1,000 milligrams in total. And again, one of those a day. And in terms of my supplements, that is, I'm afraid, that's that. That's all I've ever taken. That's all I've been taking for the last probably 2 years. I've been taking whey protein consistently now for, yeah, I'd say about 2 years. It's just, I mean, it's a mix of being lazy because obviously you can just get your protein, boom, and it's done. And also, it's just more realistic. It's very hard. I mean, if I'm looking to get, you know, anywhere from kind of 160, 170 to 200 grams of protein a day, It's very, very hard for me to get that in my diet. It requires a lot of chicken, a lot of meat, a lot of preparation, and I don't physically have the time to do that. So obviously if I can just knock back, 80 grams or so of whey protein in a shake 3 times a day, obviously it's in those 3 shakes overall, it just saves me a lot of time, makes it more practical, and allows me just to live a more reasonable life. I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, if I had more time, I would like to get more, like a bigger majority of my protein from natural kind of food sources, but unfortunately, like I said, the practicalities of it is that I can't really do it. So, that is that in terms of supplements. Now, very briefly, my diet. Like I said, this is probably the most frequently asked question I get about my diet. So, to be honest, and this might come as a shock to you if you haven't seen many of my videos before, I honestly don't monitor what I eat at all. Protein is the only kind of nutrient that I monitor, so I make sure I'm getting at least, I don't know, probably at least 150 grams a day, which is around 1.5 grams per kilo, I believe, somewhere around that. So I try and make sure I get at least that a day. On top of that, I literally just try and eat as much food as I can. That is honestly it. Genuinely, at times I eat a lot of crap. I eat cakes and chocolate, those kind of things. But I also am very conscious of trying to eat. I eat quite a lot of fruit. I eat a reasonable amount of vegetables. So I try and eat reasonably well if I can. But to be honest, if I'm pushed for time or it's late and I think I haven't had enough calories, I will just eat whatever's there because I'm trying to get those calories in. I mean, I've always eaten a lot. I've always been a big eater. I've always eaten a lot of food. People always say to me, I can't believe how much food you eat. And probably I'd say the last 2 months where I've really kind of knuckled down in terms of my powerlifting, I'm really trying to get strong. It's the first time in my life where I've been deliberately trying to eat more. I've never ever had an issue where I've always had to kind of try and control what I eat to an extent, particularly when I was jumping, because obviously I was trying to get lighter. Whereas now, obviously my emphasis is on strength, so I'm literally trying to eat physically as much as I can. I reckon I'm probably doing on average about 4,500 calories a day. That's a very rough average. I know some days I'm probably over that, some days I'm maybe slightly under that, but I reckon that's roughly where I am. To be honest, the last probably 2 months I've literally put on maybe 1-2 kilos, so we're talking like 5 pounds at most. And that is, like I say, eating a lot, really trying to deliberately eat as much food as I can. So obviously I have a very high metabolism. I train very hard for about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, 6 times a week. So obviously I've got fairly high frequency, fairly high training intensity and volume. So that obviously accounts for some of that. But like I said, I'm basically trying to eat as much as I can with my only real focus on getting as many, or within reason, as many grams of protein as I can in each day. As far as the actual food I eat, during the week I tend to eat a pattern of similar things. I'll have like a cereal and protein in the morning, maybe banana. I'll have like snacks throughout the day of nuts and cereal bars and more fruit. I'll have a decent lunch at work, which tends to be like a fairly decent meal. Could be anything really, but a decent meal with a dessert. Again, I'll literally just try and get as much as I can get away with. Again, more snacks. After training, I'll have my second protein shake of the day. I'll have again the biggest meal I can physically stomach after training, another dessert, and then before bed I'll have another protein shake and a kind of a smaller meal, maybe like yogurt and honey with some more fruit, or just again, if I feel like I haven't had enough food, I'll try and get anything in just to try and get those calories. And to be honest, that's pretty much as specific as I make it. There may come a point where I monitor it a bit more, but to be honest, at the moment, I don't really feel the need. When I was jumping, like I said, I tried to cut weight, and to be honest, I hated it. It sucked. I am one of those people that I can't handle not eating. If I want to eat, I have to eat. Otherwise, I get moody. I feel really crappy. I feel weak in the gym. So I'm definitely not one of those guys that can do that, and I don't really plan to do that. I need to do a little bit more research into the weight categories as far as powerlifting goes to determine where obviously I want to sit and if I would need to lose a little bit of weight. But as far as I know, I think I'm sitting around the weight category I'll be in, so I wouldn't really be required to cut any weight, which obviously is a bonus for me because, like I said, I am definitely not up for having to restrict my diet ever again. And that is that, guys. So I apologise if it was a little bit boring, if there was no kind of crazy food fireworks. I could say, I eat humans, I eat pottery and soil, but that wouldn't be true. So I'm afraid Can't really say that with any conviction. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, as always, and I will see you tomorrow.